Okay, so you've got three ideas. One idea is a clothing company, one idea is a software company, and then one idea is an electronics company. These three ideas all require the same amount of time to get started, right? To actually build that business, they all take the same amount of time. Let's just assume that's true. Which one do you decide? Which one do you go with? Now, there's a lot of different ways on how you can go about doing this, and what I suggest is you make a video for each one of them, explaining the idea briefly, and then put up a landing page and start advertising each idea individually as you would if it were already close to successful, or at least already launched, right? So you can actually get some early feedback. And then now of those three ideas, you get some results, right? Let's say, for instance, the clothing company, you get 10 email signups. Wow, that's awesome. 10 people have shown interest in whatever you're doing. That's not to be devalued at all. Now, if all 10 of those people are your family, that's also not to be devalued because your family wants to support you. So having a place for them to support you is really good. Now let's go to the software company and you get 5 signups. Whew, that's tough, right? 5 signups is half as much as your clothing company, but you still think that the software might be a good idea. Okay. And then finally, you get a hardware one. Your hardware idea, you get 1,000 signups. Whoa, your mind must be going crazy because I'm getting excited about it, right? And we don't even have an idea for it, but yet the hardware startup is the one that we could probably just assume that's the one you're going to go after because you have all of these people. Now, the clothing company, your family's going to support you, most likely support you with whatever you end up doing. But that's not the important part because your family's going to be there no matter what. That's what family's for. Now, on the other side, the 1,000 random people that backed your hardware startup, unless you have 1,000 friends, which is awesome, there's a good chance there's a lot of strangers in there. And when you can explain something to strangers that are buying into whatever it is that you're doing, hopefully like what you're doing right now, then there's some magic that can happen, potentially. Okay, so let's take a step back and think about how is it that I can make this happen? Now, I believe you can do this by creating landing pages for each one of those ideas. So you make a little video, whether it's using your cell phone or using a high-end camera. You make a little video, do a little explanation of whatever it is your idea is, and then ask them to join you. You know, like enter their email in below the video, like I recommend that you should do now if you want to keep doing this. Now, of course, if you're watching this on a different page than landing.hitstartup.com, I recommend that you enter it in there versus wherever else this might be. And you'll see why in just a moment. So what this project's all about is helping you promote your idea in second or any ideas in seconds, right? So I want you to be able to quickly hit deploy and boom, you now have a website where you could potentially write out some content that's going to be related to your idea. And then you can also upload a video that shows, your idea. And then finally, you can capture information with a simple email form that's just going to save that in your database. It's not going anywhere else. It's just yours. It's not mine. It's not anybody's. It's yours. Now, this is all what we're going to be doing. So if you want to stick with us on this one, go to landing.hitstartup.com. This is where you'll always be able to deploy it. There might be other places in the future, which we'll see, but this is where it will always be deployed. So I'm going to just take a second and say, if you are fairly technical yourself and you like playing around with things, just go ahead and go there now. You can stop watching the video, go there now, and start making those things happen. If you're not as technical and you want to see, step by step on how this is done, stay with us because we're about to do that. Okay, so I will say that there are a couple caveats to this. Number one, you need to sign up for Heroku, heroku.com. Simply, this is a web host. This is where you can put your website on and they'll handle all the things that are necessary to make sure that website runs and runs well. Next thing, you're going to want to buy a domain name. Name.com is where I use my domain names. That's where I purchase all of mine. I've used other services before. I just like name.com because it's clean and useful. Now, you can use whoever you want. Doesn't matter. And then finally, Heroku is not the only way to deploy this. On our other business, codingforentrepreneurs.com, we actually show you how to deploy on a few other services. So this code is actually usable on other web hosts as well. It's just we're not going to be doing it on other web hosts because Heroku has this really nice little button called Deploy to Heroku, which makes it easy and free to launch a landing page that looks exactly like what we see here. Now, one thing I will also admit for those of you who are a little bit more technical, this is an open source project. That means that all of the code on here is free. So if you launch this and things start going well and you want to use the same code, you can actually go to our GitHub repository where we put all of our training related stuff. It's going to be here. If for some reason it changes location, landing.hitstartup.com will have a link for it. So just keep that in mind for the open source code. If you wanted to hire like a developer that is a Django developer to actually build in some more features onto it. But the main thing here with this app is you shouldn't think of this as like, this is what you're going to use in the future, long term, to build your entire service on. I wouldn't, right? I'm not going to. What instead you want to look at it is this is merely a tool to test your ideas that after you've tested them, after you've captured all those email addresses, you're essentially not going to use this much anymore until you test another idea. That's kind of the point. Okay, so now it's time to go step by step and actually building this thing out. So again, I'm going to assume that you already have Heroku app, and I'm going to assume that you don't actually want to learn how to build this yourself. If you do want to learn how to build it, we do have a link and we can show you step by step on how to do that. And if you're in a series where this is and it's about learning, you can go ahead and stop now and just skip to the next video. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and jump into landing.hitstartup.com. And I'm just going to go ahead and open up Deploy to Heroku in a new tab. So I'm going to click Control click if you're on a Mac, or right click if you're on a Windows, and just hit open into a new tab. What this is going to do is it's going to bring me into Heroku to actually launch this page. Now, if you don't have an account for Heroku, you might have to sign up for an account, log in, and do all that stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and deploy my own idea landing page. We call it the Hit landing page, but really it's an idea landing page. This is for getting your ideas out there. Okay, so first thing that you want to do is name your app. In our case, I'm going to name it Hit Landing. Notice there's two I's in there. And I can actually call it Hit Landing. You can't. You're going to have to call it whatever. But you want it to be all lowercase and you don't want any spaces. It's not going to let you do that. Of course, it's going to tell you that, but you want to have a unique name that's related to Heroku. I'm going to show you why in just a moment. Then you're going to scroll down and you're going to see something called Config Variables. These are things that we did some customization for. Above here, this is all related to Heroku. These things down here are related to your project in particular. So I'm going to keep mine as Hit Landing, but if you were doing something different, you would totally use that. And my website is going to be hitlanding.com. This again is for Django. This is the technical stuff. You definitely want to have this. This doesn't actually have anything to do with Heroku itself. It has to do with our backend code that's making this thing run. I'm going to go ahead and hit deploy, and I'm going to let it run. So it's going to deploy the app into Heroku. So if you've ever worked with us before and deployed something on Heroku, this is that same process. If you haven't, that's okay. This is going to load up a brand new service on your Heroku app. So while that's running, I'm actually going to jump into Heroku again, and it's going to load into my dashboard. And what I see here is Hit Landing. So this is the actual project. It's in our app now. Cool. So it's still loading, but it's actually in there within our Heroku service. And if you don't have any other apps, you'll just see that one. But I'm going to create another app. So let's go ahead and deploy it to Heroku another time. And I'm doing this specifically to show you how easy it is. And I'm going to make one called Serve Up, which is a business we're starting. And that's what's on the hitstartup.com, in case you were wondering. I'm going to call this project Serve Up. Website domain is .serveup.com. That first dot is important. It's really made so your domain name is not going to change really. So like somebody else can't mask your domain essentially. That's the point of that. I'm going to go ahead and hit deploy. And I go back into my dashboard. I hit refresh in here. And now I see Serve Up and Hit Landing. Whoa. So I actually have two apps that are running the same code. Again, the point is testing ideas. So if you have 100 ideas, you should test those 100 ideas out. Okay, so if I go to that first one, which we called Hit Landing, I can now see that the app was successfully deployed. If I click View, it's going to open up a new page, and notice it says hitlanding.herokuapp.com, which is similar to hitlanding.hitstartup.com, but it's not the same. And we now have this page. So what I want to do now is actually make some quick changes to it, so we can, allow it to be more ours. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to log into this admin with this username and password. These are the things that are generated by default, and I highly, highly recommend that you change these right away so nobody else can grab into them. As you notice, this is right on our main page, so this is the admin. This gets you into the back end. All I'm going to do here is copy the password and just try and remember that the username is admin. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this password, and I'm going to open this admin into a new tab, and then I'll type in admin, and I'll paste in that password. I'll log in, and I'm going to just come in here into that admin and just change the password. And I want this to be fairly secure, so I want it to be fairly unique. And I'm going to just write it in as a password that I want. And I'll just go ahead and do that real quick there. Change password. And then I'll make sure that Google Chrome saves this password. So I don't necessarily have to remember it. But now if I go ahead and click log out and try to log in again, the password's already pre-filled in there, which is because I saved it. So if I hit save, there we go, and now I can save it for that actual username. Of course, you could change the username in here too, and I'll let you play around with this, but the main thing here is pages. If we go into pages, I now can click on Welcome to Hit Landing. Now, this is actually the Hit Landing page, so I do want to keep this as Hit Landing because I'm going to change it to being hitlanding.com, and it'll look like this. So I don't want it to be a whole lot different than this, but what I will do is I'm going to change and get rid of all the steps. So this is where it gets a little technical. So just bear with me for a moment while I delete some of the technical things that are in here, and that should do it. And I'm going to keep that same video. And one thing I will add is leave capture. I'll just select leave capture, and I'll hit save and continue editing. I'll go back into my page. I'll hit refresh in here. And now I see that those password and all those steps go away. And if I scroll my mouse off of the page, it should actually show my leaving. There it goes. So this is what it should show us, right? So now I can actually enter an email in here, or I can close this out. So if I close that out, it won't show up again. I can enter an email here and say hello@teamcfe.com. I'll hit join. Success. Thanks for joining. Going back into the admin, I go home, joins, and now I see that I actually have that email in there. You could test this. You could actually go to hitlanding.herokuapp.com right now. It should show you this page or something close to it, and you can actually put in your email in there, but you won't have access to the admin. Notice this thing is popping up on me. I can get rid of that real simply by going back into the admin, into pages, welcome to Hit Landing, scroll to the bottom, get rid of that leave capture, hit save, refresh on that page, and now it's no longer there. Okay, cool. So now that I've got that, let's go ahead and add our custom domain name to it. I'm going to go ahead and copy this Heroku app stuff here, and I'm going to go into name.com for my Hit Landing site. Right, so hitlanding.com, and then into DNS records, I'm going to select CNAME, and I'm going to write www.hitlanding.com, put the answer in as that URL. I'll hit add record. I'll also do some URL forwarding, leave the domain empty, and then do www.hitlanding.com as well. This is so if somebody just goes to that URL, it just redirects them to www. And then the next thing I'll add in is star.hitlanding.com. Oops, let's go back. Star.hitlanding.com with also Heroku app. I'll add that in. And it's giving me this conflict, and that has to do with the empty URL here. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that out for now. It looks like it actually did come in because we didn't refresh. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back and do star. Bring that in, hit save. There we go. I refresh in here. That stuff's working. My URL forwarding is still there. Okay, great. So now I actually have this domain. So if I go to hitlanding.com, Let's go ahead and open up a new tab, hitlanding.com. It says there's nothing here yet. Okay, so this means that I have to add this domain name into Heroku. So during the creation process, when I said your website, that didn't actually add the website into Heroku. So we want to add it. So let's go back into our Heroku page, click on Hit Landing, and this is how you will do it for every Heroku page. This is a way to do it. If you're more technical, there is another way, but if you're not, this is how you do it. And then we're going to scroll down, and inside of custom domains here, I'm going to just go to add domain, put in our domain, hitlanding.com, and then I'm also going to put in star.hitlanding.com, and I'll also put in www.hitlanding.com. Okay, so that star is mainly for if you went to like blog.hitlanding.com, it goes to the same place. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and take a look at hitlanding.com. Looks like it's working. And like I said, if I did blog.hitlanding.com, it still goes here. It doesn't do an error. Okay, so that means that our page is actually working. But I didn't do a whole lot of customizing. So let's go back to our ServeUp one, where our real project is. This is the one that we actually want to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the Hit Landing related stuff. So Hit Landing, I'm going to close this out. Hitlanding.Heroku app, going to close that out. Hitlanding.HerokuApp.com, I'm going to close that one out as well. And then the Hit Landing settings as well as name.com. I just don't want things to get a little too crowded. I will leave the one domain name open just because I might want to go back to it. Anyway, so now that we've got our Heroku app, I've got this ServeUp here. I can go ahead and hit view. And I've got serveup.herokuapp.com. And I'm going to go back into name.com, put a CNAME here, www. Answer, serveup.herokuapp.com. Add this record. I'll put a CNAME here. Actually, I'm not going to do that one yet. I'll go to URL forwarding and do www.serveup.com. Add forwarding. Go back into DNS records. Do that refresh because we saw before it didn't work for us. So we've got this star, so this wildcard domain, meaning any domain name. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one and just go to CNAME now, star, paste in our Heroku, hit add record, and there we go. So this A name, we may or may not want it, so I'm just going to leave it for now. And now if I go to serveup.com, I see that it says nothing here. This happened last time, so we go back into our app. I'm going to just click Manage App this time, and this is going to the same place that we've already seen. I'll go to Settings. I'm going to scroll down into custom domains will appear here, and I'll just do star.serveup.com, hit save changes. So that's the only one I'll leave for now. I'll refresh in here. Boom, it works exactly as we anticipate. Now I'm going to go into the admin, change that admin password again, because we definitely want to do that. So admin password, users, admin, change password with that form, and then whatever password you want. Change that password. Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And we could go through that same process we did before. Notice the password's there. I type out admin, log in, saves that password again. I go into my pages now. And instead of welcome to Hit Landing, I'm going to go ahead and say no longer active, no longer featured. I'll hit save. And now I'll add a new page and I'll call it ServeUp. Or rather, welcome to ServeUp. And this is going to be a video content management platform. Don't worry if you don't know what that means right now. But that's essentially the core as to what it will be. I have some defaults in here, so I'll leave those. Content, I'll just put some HTML in here saying coming soon. And then we will leave our layout as standard. I do have a video already queued up for this, and I'm just going to go ahead and copy what's in the iframe. So if you go to any YouTube video, you're going to copy this iframe stuff here. Vimeo as well as Wistia work the same way. You just want to look for that iframe code, not the actual link, but the iframe embed code. Not this link, iframe embed code. Go back into that page. I'm going to paste that in here. I'm going to give this a featured. I'm going to get rid of that leave capture. I don't want that. And that's it. So I'll just go ahead and hit save. It creates that new page for me. If I go to serveup.com now, I see that, hey, check it out. This is actually that page. The coloring and stuff like that, I didn't change anything there. I actually have my navigation bar showing up. So maybe I don't want that. So let's go back into that admin again. Go into pages. Welcome to ServeUp. I'm going to get rid of show nav. I'll hit save, and then I'll go back. And there you go. The navigation's no longer there. I'll put in my email address, hit join, success, thanks for joining. I'll go into the admin again. Joins. There we go. Okay, cool. So I now have my serve up page working. Of course, the brand and stuff like that isn't exactly the way I want it to be, but the main thing here is now I can test this out. So you yourself, if you go to serveup.com, you might see this page. Depending on when you're looking at it, you might see this exact page. Of course, if you go to serveup.herokuapp.com, you'll probably see that exact same page as well. This is Hiit ServeUp, not Hiit ServeUp, but serveup.com. You'll probably see that same page as well. So that's something else to keep note. But now we actually have a way to collect emails and get our ideas out there, get them tested, and try some new stuff. One other thing I will note is that since these are pages, we are actually creating multiple pages. So if I scroll down, I see this item of slug. If I just copy and paste that slug at the end of the URL, it will take me here on one condition. Let's go back into the admin. Let's go back into that page itself. Notice it did say 404. If I click active here and hit save, and then now go back to that page, I now have another landing page, right? So I can have multiple landing pages on the same URL if I want to. So I can make hundreds of them if I'd like. And this might be a way to test out different things. Right now I see that there's a little glitch with the actual email form itself. That will not be there by the time you're seeing this. All right, so if you have any questions on what we did here, please let us know. This is made for you guys to get your project out there and start delivering value. I realize this was kind of a long video, but the main thing here was to show those of you who aren't as technical just how easy it actually is to do this. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.